got one from the celebration.
This one's
Substantial.
2,000.
All awards.
We hope last week we did it. Good things.
That's awesome.
Please write a check.
That's terrific. That's wonderful. Proceeds from the golf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's association.
Mm-hmm. It's very kind. Good. You've been celebration. Hey, are you a little bit careless?
Yeah.
What painting? Jim Hall. Paint? You cut it out, take it off.
There you go.
Did you see that? Those were the days. Those Christmas.
You're about all set, Betsy?
Oh, yeah, I'm just
Okay, just want to make sure.
too busy work.
Becky, you're good?
Yeah.
Great. I will call the meeting to order, 7 o'clock. We have a fairly brief agenda tonight, which is nice. First up is the water district. Talk about 75 Main. You guys have the floor.
I was just wondering if you decided on who's going to get the profile. Yeah.
No. Yeah, in our prior discussions, you've indicated interest in some of the funds and provided that information about what you're looking for. Road agent has provided some requests. I had a conversation with Jeff about the fire department as well. One of the tasks on my list is getting clarification about what the funds can and can't be used for. At this point in time, we don't have requests over and above the amount of funds we're expected to get. So I anticipate that the funds that you've requested, you probably would be able to do. Make no guarantees right now, but I think we were looking more towards in the budget discussions, as everybody kind of indicates, both from an operational standpoint and from a capital needs standpoint for the next year, how we consider utilizing the funds.
But these are extra funds, right? So it doesn't really, these are additional funds from the government, correct?
This is the go for money, yeah.
So it wouldn't be absorbed into our budget necessarily, it would be a separate distribution, correct?
Correct, but I think you want to consider in the context of what all the other departments are doing with the capital needs of the town. Again, I don't see that we have an overwhelming demand for the funds, especially given the restrictions on what they can be used for. So I don't anticipate it'll be a problem.
So when do you anticipate talking to these guys about their requests? Because that was actually on my agenda for tonight.
But who, all the departments? During the budget discussions with them, I think that would be the appropriate time. So for example, the fire department, if they want to try to move forward with the expansion of the fire department, which we know has to take place, if that's allowable under the Gopher funds, then I think that we'd consider that as a use of the funds. But if they're not allowed under the Gopher funds, well, there's a need for it, then we have to consider it in the context of their overall budget. And I think that my opinion is the two need to move hand in hand. I don't think you just, hey, look, free money, and you go and spend it without a consideration of what, over the next several years' time, what the needs of the town are, especially when it comes to capital allocations, which, the Gopher money is kind of geared towards. I certainly, the water department, while it's not part of the town, I think it's a good use of and we have the flexibility to use it for that allocation. But I certainly would want to view it in the context of the needs of the town going forward. I mean, other things that we need to think about that haven't come up that I would like to have conversations with. Do we need new cruisers? Can we allocate some of these funds for cruisers or not? I don't know. Is there other equipment that public safety might need that we can utilize these funds for? We're still going through the stormwater management asset grant, but following that, there's probably going to be some need for the town to invest something in stormwater. So I think all of this has to be in the context of a broader look of the needs of the town over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And so I think it's important that we have the conversations with the budget departments before we just vote money out the door.
So we haven't received a proposal from the fire department yet. The only people we've received
Nope.
is from the road
Correct.
agent and from the water department. And we've asked twice for departments to submit their request for the Gopher funds. So if the fire department wants to submit something, they should do it sooner and include Betsy and I in this conversation so we are all in the same place when it comes to what the requests are coming to the town.
Again, I only had a conversation with Jeff to make him aware of this, under the understanding that there would be no formal discussion about this until he came before this board. I'm not making any decisions about this until they come here and we can have a much broader public discussion about what their needs are, what they see their needs are over the next several years, because Gopher money doesn't have to be spent year one. We actually have several years to apply apply the Gopher funds. But I think it's important that we have conversations with all the departments about what their needs are. And maybe they're gonna say, you know what, we don't need it this year, but we might need to do this next year. And if we can utilize the Gopher funds for this, well, okay, I think that we need to consider that as we think about how to spend the Gopher money. And if we aren't gonna spend it, we can always give it back. That's perfectly allowable under Gopher.
We have plenty of projects. I don't think we need to worry about sending it back.
Again, I think it's a question of what we have projects, what are our priorities, and over what time periods are we gonna spend it? I don't anticipate we'll send it back, but what I'm saying here is we have to have a broader conversation with the departments before we start allocating these funds.
So we haven't heard from at least 4 or 5 about this. And so what I'm saying is that some of these things are more time sensitive, right? Like getting a water system up and going is something that's more time sensitive necessarily than a new police cruiser. So how are you going to determine what we're going to use this money for? Because I don't know either what you believe the process should be in awarding these funds. So can you tell me, for my own information, what your thoughts are on how we're going to allocate this stuff?
Again, I think we're gonna do it through our budget process. Because the budget process isn't just about operating costs for the next year. It's a discussion about capital needs and planning. That's what we've always done here. And so until we have those departments in front of us, in a formal budget, our formal budget discussions with them to go over, okay, here's how you're gonna be spending the money. How much did you spend last year? What were the things that you needed more money for? Where can you not, go without money? Was this a one-time expense this year or was it not? Okay, let's figure out the budget. What are your long-term capital needs? What do you think you want to plan for? Then we'll make decisions about the Gopher money. I don't understand why you think that we should make those decisions tonight or in the next 2 weeks.
I didn't say anything about making them tonight. I'm trying to understand what your view of the process is so I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And what I'm asking is, how are we going to prioritize? What is your anticipation, having been through a budget cycle already? How do you anticipate that we're going to prioritize these funds for general information?
I won't know that until I have the conversations with the departments about what their priorities are.
Okay.
Yes.
Does the town have a capital improvements plan or committee?
We don't have a formal CIP committee. Typically, that has worked through the planning board,
Yeah.
and there's been discussions at the planning board about revisiting our capital plan. Since I've been here in the town, there really hasn't been a formal CIP. It's been far more informal than formal. The budget committee, the budget advisory committee back 15 years ago, basically worked with the departments when the budget advisory was very active in identifying long-term capital needs, plans on cruisers. We did a 20-year plan for paving in the town, which for the most part we're still operating on, although it's coming to the end of that kind of plan. Worked with the fire department about what their fire truck needs were anticipated to be. But since the advisory committee went away, there just hasn't been a whole lot of capital planning within the town.
Which is unfortunate.
Very bad.
No, without a doubt. And again, it's always been more under the rubric of the planning board than anything else.
Well, the CIP kind of came after. I remember, I don't know, maybe Ray remembers this. We had one that I remember distinctly, roundtable of all the town departments. We had it right here in this room, and I won't say attendance was mandatory, but you show up. All the heads of department or the next in command or whatever, and you talk about what you're looking for. And I can't remember the specifics, but amongst the departments, we found some commonalities and things that could be shared or planned, which just doing it informally does no service to the town, especially when we have money available start date on that, but I don't know how long the budget advisory committee lasted. I know that there was some fallout because they thought they had some say in the budget when they do really, it's purely advisory, and that turned off a lot of people. But we need a CIP. All right, I'll shut up.
Other questions with respect to 75A?
Yeah, have you made any decisions on what's going to do with the building?
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last we talked with you about it, you were going to be looking at options that you were going to suggest to us and that we were going to talk about in the context of the warrant article at some point. So, I mean, we haven't had any further discussions as a board since then. We, at our last discussion, we had gone back and forth about a variety of options. Have you come to any conclusions of what you think that you might be proposing to the town?
Not really. No.
Okay.
Do you want us to formally put a proposal to you and?
Look, at the end of the day, it's gonna have to be a warrant article, right?
Right.
I mean,
But
whatever we do with that, it's gonna have to be a warrant article. I think if you guys have a specific thing in mind that you want to propose, my suggestion is we'll put a specific proposal so that at an open meeting, there can be a discussion amongst you and members of the community and this board. And, you know, if there's consensus, great, we'll put the warrant article together for that.
Okay.
I think that's the best way to go about it, but you're more than willing to put forward your own warrant article without any discussion.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, that sounds,
What bearing does it have on the district meeting? Because I know that comes after the town meeting. You have to vote the same thing and, yeah. So you'd have, that would be on your warrant. Okay. So nothing would happen, right?
Well, we can't,
Yeah.
we're only going to deal until March.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Unless you give us an extension.
correct. As a board, we can do things like that on a short-term basis, as we talked about last time. We can't do anything long-term. We're prohibited from doing that without a vote of the town.
So are we going to be able to extend their lease? Because I thought we had a discussion that we can't do more than a year, right? That's our
Correct.
limit.
Correct.
So wait until it's up.
Right, so if something happens near, in March around election time, we still have the option to extend the lease. If for some reason the warrant article doesn't pass or something like that, we can extend the lease another year at that time.
Yes. Yep. And again, I think that's why we're not really taking action on anything with respect to that. I think that will be dictated by whatever warrant gets put forward, what that warrant says, and whether the town votes for it. If it works in your benefit, then we'll make an appropriate extension to the point in time where the warrant gets executed. If the warrant gets rejected and you guys are interested in staying, then I think we'll have a tough discussion about, an extension until we come up with another solution.
How many times can we extend that lease? Is there a limit?
Nope. Just can't do it for more than a year. Okay? Does that work for you guys? I mean,
yes.
don't want to make things complicated, but at the same time, town needs to be participant in the process
Absolutely.
because it's their building.
To go back to the local funds for a minute.
Yeah.
What we had asked for was some work to be done on the wells. We can't wait a year or 2 years or 3 years. It's got to be done. We're on the list right now. The man that's going to do it. We're on his list.
For when?
I don't know when.
Okay.
Whenever he gets here.
Is it, so could it be next week?
No.
Okay.
But we'll be spending, we're going to be spending the money and then ask to be reimbursed.
Mhm.
That's acceptable?
Yeah.
You don't want to miss your chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way things are today, you just,
With the contractor? Yeah. Yep.
And that
So
was
how-
that parade that went by. Didn't know that came up with.
So how is that going to work then if you guys are putting the money out up front and there's a possibility that you don't get this money back? What does that look like?
We still have to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is necessary work on the wells,
They
right?
don't have to.
I understand, but in terms of for people in the water district, that cost then gets pushed on to us, correct?
Well, it's always yours. It's always water.
It's
district
always
cost.
ours, but I don't think with the scope of what they're talking about, I don't think they hopefully come up with something else before giving it a fund. You know, it's gonna be a big bill. I mean,
No, it's $24,000, $31,000.
Mhm. All
that
right.
won't happen.
Well, on the water, we did get a grant, I don't know, we haven't got it yet, but we've asked for a grant, so we signed the governance council to do a survey to see if it's feasible to connect to new markets.
Oh, you got a grant to do the feasibility study? Oh, great, great. Well, with a little luck, government council won't reject that, right?
He knows what's good for him.
Well, it's supposed to happen a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, nothing ever happens that time these days. Well, that's great. Do you know when they're gonna be doing that work, that assessment?
I don't.
Okay. Probably next year, I would assume.
It'll be, yeah, within the.
Great. No, that's great. I think that's an excellent that you guys got that grant, because that'll really help determine, are they gonna look at both Newmarket and Exeter?
No.
Just Newmarket? Okay, okay. All right.
That'd be a huge project.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, look, it's, as much as anything, it's, you know, I don't, how far down Waterway does the Newmarket system go?
To the railroad.
To the railroad, yeah. So, I mean, it's really getting from your station here, getting piped out to pump up to them, right? Yeah. All right, excellent. Anything else?
That's it.
Well,
Yep.
we just seen on the water department, under pressure, because we have a lot of deadlines looming. And I understand from your point of view, this, I don't know, seems to remain, time's moving that quickly. And I look at the schedules, right? And we have to, you know, we're committed, big projects, big money. And we have no choice, we have to, like you said, we have to do the wells. We're in line, you know, not there, these contractors disappear, and there's not everybody that's cleaning wells. These are kind of one or two person jobs in the New England. So, that's the front door.
Would you guys be willing, for my information anyway, to put together a list of the projects that you've got going and like kind of timelines, so I have an understanding of what's happening within the district and kind of the
You want a
constraints?
timeline from us?
If that would be,
Yeah, we can do that.
that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Sure. We'll show you what the crunch times we have.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good. Yeah. Set right there, Shannon.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody else of the water district? No? All right. Thank you, guys. Next item up is, we have a brief agenda tonight. So,
But we have a lot of visitors, so I don't
I
know.
know, I'm not sure why. Red Cross has made a request for additional funding. We had provided them, I believe it's $300, as one of the nonprofits that we provided support through our operating budget. They're making a request for additional funds.
So don't we pretty much budget this as a block?
Yeah, if you were,
Well, no, I mean, I know the nonprofits.
Yep.
And to make any decision on this now, you know, okay, you gave them $200 more, you're gonna give,
well, that's the question before us, right? Do we want to do this? You know, they're requesting additional funds. There's 500 unallocated on the line. I mean, we could allocate them some, none, or all of the remaining funds. And I don't have any thoughts one way or the
Remaining
other.
funds that are actually in their name?
No, these aren't in their name.
Yeah,
No,
no,
we
it's-
allocated.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We allocated all the funds per the discussion that we all had, and I think there was a group that you added, we, made some decisions about this, and then came to a conclusion by the board of just saying, okay, these are the funds going out to, there's about a dozen organizations. Red Cross has just come back and asked for more.
So is this $500 that we have, is that from that block grant, or is this town funds that?
No, these are all town funds. There's no block grant allocate. This is just, there's $500 remaining unallocated in that budget line. Now, let's be clear. We could spend another $5,000 if we wanted to, but again, it's, it's a question of just budget and fiscal responsibility. American Red Cross is just asking for more funds. And it's a question of whether we want to do this now, we can push it off. It's up to the board.
Well, it just makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because there are a lot of other nonprofits that just,
Yep.
can't this be? I mean, I remember getting requests from all the nonprofits.
We get them all year long.
Well, then, can't we hang on to, just, this is the nonprofit folder?
Or we look at if we have $500 to spend, then let's look at what we allocated to the nonprofits already and see what the difference was between what we allocated and for some who got maybe half of what they asked for. Maybe that's
We can
what
do that. I mean,
that might be-
my thought is also just wait until the end of the year and identify any organization, because organizations are constantly providing service, and if there's somebody who's providing service, especially on the holidays, that may be, my thought is I'd rather not do this now, and if there's excess funds, we just wait towards the end of the year and make a decision.
As valid as all the nonprofits are, I have to agree with you. I
Yeah.
can't see how we single one out.
No, I'm fine with that. Great. So we'll defer action on doing anything on that.
And how about if we find out why everybody's here?
I'm working through the agenda.
Well, I know, but you got 7:15, nothing happening, 7:30, nothing happening.
No, hold on. No, that's planning board. I don't need that. That's for another day. So the only other thing on the agenda is meeting minutes. You guys want to do a quick look through those, and then I'll open it up to the public, and we'll cover whatever we want to cover. I think everybody came just so they could get on TV.
We're on TV.
Yes, camera's live and back. There you go.
Didn't know that.
Now everyone knows, just to make
Me and
sure.
my next sports wear. Oops.
So if everybody's cool on the fall festival?
Yeah, it's my understanding that Charlotte met with,
Yeah, no,
with
I
the
know
committee,
that.
and I think it's all been taken care of. Yep.
Don't need to,
No, I think
yep, it,
all the discussions have taken place.
yes. And everybody's happy.
I assume so. I haven't heard anything.
I have.
So Betsy, do you mean that we're all set with the additional requests that they had made?
Yep,
They're not.
yep.
They're not.
Yep, Charlotte, walking her dog, and she stopped in and said that she had met with Amy and...
Natalie?
And I think Natalie,
Yep.
yeah. And they're looking forward to making it a fourth event.
A formal event of the
Of
celebration.
the celebration
Mhm.
committee, so
Great.
everything's cool.
Great. I will move the minutes for Tuesday, September 28th as written.
Well, second?
Second by Betsy. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great. Meeting minutes are covered. All right, I'll open that up for general public discussion. Anybody have anything they want to raise? Yes?
Stacy Rella, Pleasant Street.
Mhm.
Just curious if the board has made a decision on hiring a police chief yet, or where we're at with that.
So, just to go back on the process, just so everybody's aware of what is taking place to date. We formed a committee to review the dozen or so applications. The committee met around Labor Day. They provided information back to the board, recommending really that we move forward with 3 particular candidates. The board submitted written questions to those candidates. All 3 responded back in a timely manner with their responses. We then just completed interviews with those 3 candidates last week. And after this meeting, we'll go into a non-public session then to discuss that tonight and potentially make a determination as to which candidate we may make an offer to. That offer would obviously be contingent upon background checks and other formal review of their references and everything else. But we are close at this point in time. Knock on wood, it'll be,
Full agree?
yeah, we'll agree.
Keeping in
Leaving
mind that
until we agree.
Yeah.
background checks and psychological tests take time
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So we might make a decision tonight about a candidate, but they might not actually be in office until maybe December.
Yeah, I would guess, Thanksgiving, December timeframe. Yep, absolutely, Jack. Yep. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm Sumner Vanderbilt, I live around Grimlock Court. So I have a question about the ordinance that was signed this last December about residential picketing prohibited. But on Hemlock, every Sunday we still see a lot of people picketing on our street, obviously down towards the end. So we're wondering if this ordinance is going to be enforced, or is there a plan, or have there been enough complaints about it? Is there anything the board can tell us about this?
So, the ordinance was put in place last year when the protests were, I would say, very robust. And it was at that point in time, after the ordinance was passed, enforced by the local police and by the state police. With the new resurgence, I think the police department has been made aware of it. I have not been myself involved in the details of enforcement of this. It's not the board's role to necessarily enforce, it's the police department's role to enforce the ordinances of the town. This is the first formal discussion. Jackie had made mention at the last meeting about this as well. You're the first citizen that I know that has come before the board. Let me ask, can you give me or anyone else here a bigger description of what's going on and what your concerns are?
Yeah, so I think it has been a resurgence, like you said. So every Sunday, there's a caravan, I call it, of cars, trucks, motorcycles, kind of a variety of vehicles. It seems to be the biggest and loudest possible. Driving down Hemlock Court to the end, presumably the cul-de-sac. We live at 21, so we're a little bit further down. And it seems like the mission is to make as much noise as possible. Honking horns, megaphones, generally just trying to get the attention of the entire neighborhood for their agenda. So it's just really disruptive on a Sunday evening in town here when we have an ordinance like this in place. So that's, and yeah, uncomfortable on top of that, just because it seems like the picketing aggressive, not so, I think that's the best way to, yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Are they getting out of their cars?
Not near our house.
Okay.
No.
So I spoke with Keith Walker this afternoon about this because I wanted to get a little bit of background from the state police.
I'd actually like to talk to you. I really like you guys.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Lieutenant O'Brien. I know this is being televised. I have no doubt that there are people that are on this caravan that are watching this tonight and they're going to be listening to what we're talking about tonight, so just be aware of that. I have 2 days left in this town. I'm going to Stratford County, just to let you all know. But I do want to address this issue. I have been working closely with the Attorney General's office as well as the state police. And I know many of you have questions as to why the police department hasn't been enforcing the protesting ordinance and hasn't been making arrests because of disturbing the peace. One thing I want to put out there is we don't have a disturbing the peace law in the state of New Hampshire. We have something called disorderly conduct. It is a little different. It's disturbing the peace is the one everyone hears on TV. A little different. We kind of went back and forth with the state police on this one. We don't have a lot of resources here in Newfields. We're limited to usually one person on a shift at a time. That being said, when we were dealing with the protests last year, we had a huge backing of the state police. We could have up to 27 people there, 27 state police officers there at a time, which was great. And when we had a really bad night out there, and summoned 10 people and made an arrest, a really good arrest, I think, we had their help. We had the help of the STOP team. That's not always readily available to us at this time. Not being said that we're not always thinking about your safety, because we certainly are. But like I said, I have been in contact with the state police and the AG's office. One of the different issues we were talking about is because these became more of they're calling it the Beat Brigade, clever. These became more of a drive through the neighborhood kind of thing rather than the let's stand and congregate or let's walk up to the town hall through the path, which a lot of community members use, or walk along the streets that a lot of community members use. We were concerned a lot, and we ran this back and forth with our prosecutor with the AG, that this didn't fit the type of protesting that was going with that ordinance, okay? The protesting where we were mainly going after was the people standing out there and really causing a nuisance and walking back and forth and yelling at people directly who were walking back with their dogs, which it's very intimidating, and I understand that certainly. We also had to look at this in several other ways. What would this be like in court? Say we stop these people after maybe 1 or 2 parades around town, and they go, okay, what are you stopping us for? And please don't get mad at me for this. This is me. I have to look at devil's advocate at all times, okay? I have to look at the safety of you all, as well as I have to look at what's the best for the town. What's not going to get us sued at the end of the day, okay? So how many parades did we have last year that involves kids' birthdays, getting over sicknesses, graduations, etc.? The police department and the fire department alone were involved in probably over 15 of those, which included sirens, horns, loud noises, screaming, posters, balloons, etc. These are all things that could be brought into court. We have videos of them all over Facebook. I mean, we have videos of us participating. These are things we have to think about that can be brought into court and used against us when they say, well, these were allowed because, they were Newfields residents. Why isn't this allowed? We're not doing it late at night. We're doing it at this time every weekend, and they allowed 15 of these, and in fact, the police were involved. I'm not saying that makes it right. Please don't think that I think that these parades are appropriate or right. I don't think they're getting the point across. I think they're just angering everybody, and they're scaring people, and I don't agree with them, and I don't appreciate them. But we really run a fine line here with making sure you're safe, making sure that you're not being disturbed in your own homes, and taking away people's right to speech, etc. That being said, we've now allowed 3 weeks of this to occur, okay? Another reason for that is when these people are riding around in the neighborhood and from here, they're in their nice little contained cars, okay? They're nice and contained, they do their beeps, they're safe in there. They do their beeps and honks, they do their 3 passes or whatever it is they do, and then they go home. Our thought was, if we start making a big deal about this, they come back full force on foot, and they're now walking in front of your homes, okay, chanting. They're now causing a scene down back at the circle. They're back up here, they're back over at the general store. our thought process originally was, let's keep them contained. We know they're in there. We know they're going to do their 20 minutes of fame, and then they're going to hit the road. Okay, so that was our thought process over the last couple weeks. I just want to give you that idea. It's not that we didn't want to do anything. It's not that we didn't want to take action. We're weighing all of our options, and we want to keep people as safe as possible. Okay. Going forward, I do have a meeting with the Colonel of the State Police. Tomorrow I have a meeting with the Attorney General's office, and I have a meeting with the head of Troop A tomorrow. So I got all the big wigs involved in a phone conversation, and we will be deciding what to do. Unfortunately, I will not be involved in whatever actions those are. I will do my best to provide the best guidance to the new officer in charge, which is going to be Sergeant Kevin Valley. I'm hoping I will still be able to offer my assistance as a part-time officer with the Newfields Police Department should things go awry. But that's really where we are, and I have talked to so many of you this week, and I know there are so many concerns, especially for the kiddos. And especially, I know there was some talk about them showing up at random times now, and parents were concerned about getting off the bus and stuff like that. If that should happen, we're going to be on it, okay? We're going to make sure schools are halting the buses. We're going to make sure kids are getting home safe. We're going to do whatever we possibly can to make sure your kids are 100% safe from whatever goes down around here. Okay, so just we're trying so hard all the time to figure out what these people are doing these things, which we do have. We do follow their sites, we follow their calendars. They now have a calendar that they're posting all their stuff on, which is actually very helpful. I think they're really not listening, but so we really are doing that. And my suggestion is, if this is really fearful to you guys at this time, and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry that you're fearful in your own yards and in your own home right now. I really am, and I know it's frustrating for you. I've heard all your voices. It's frustrating for us because as police, we want to act, we want to do something, and this has been a really delicate situation. So I'm just going to have to ask. I know a lot of people were saying, what if we block the road with our cars, or what if we? Please don't do that. I know some of it was a joke, some of it I wasn't so sure. So that's just going to instigate. And when we instigate my fears, we're going to see the Franks and the other people that are here last year that aren't totally here because of the vaccination mandate. They're here to get people riled up, and they're here to cause a problem. And that's what we're trying to stay away from as much as possible. So our biggest thing is please just try not to instigate. If you have to stay inside, just stay inside. God forbid if somebody comes up to you, approaches you 911 instantly, we'll be there. Our suggestion is this week, please call dispatch, not the PD, and not 911 unless it's an emergency. If there's a noise problem in Hemlock, please call dispatch. That's Newmarket Dispatch, they dispatch for us, okay? They're going to record all noise calls. Last time we had a little bit of trouble with what noise calls were. Just because they're down here getting ready in the parking lot doesn't mean somebody up on Old Lee Road can call and say, I can kind of hear faint beeping, you guys gotta do something now. Because that's just gonna, it did happen a couple times. That's just gonna hurt us in prosecution. Okay, it really will. That's not gonna help our case. Please let it be heard in the privacy of your residence. Let it be disturbing, and call us. Call dispatch, okay? That'll all be recorded. Anything else I missed? There was so much stuff I wanted to say to you guys tonight. Somebody else called today and said that they heard sirens being emanated from one of the cars. That is a violation of state law. If you guys want to know what the state law is, I don't know if you care. It's 26673, sirens prohibited. So I will make my officers and state police aware that if there are any sirens at all, there's to be a violation noted, or violation given to those people, or at least a warning for a violation of siren. If it continues, they will be summoned. Yes.
So those were sirens that I heard.
Yeah, I was committing sirens, but aware of the sirens today, unfortunately.
It was just bizarre. You kept trying to make them
I thought it was
into
them.
a police
No.
I
car.
thought it was the police.
So,
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
can I clarify
Sure.
about the siren? Are you talking, so there've been a few
Okay.
types of sirens that
Okay.
they've been using. So are you talking about like ones that sound like police sirens?
Plus, it sounds like an emergency vehicle. Yeah, something that's going to make somebody think, hey, I got to pull over. There's a cruiser coming. There's an ambulance coming, or something like that.
Or something's going on. I'm just over the hill, so yeah.
Yeah, anything that's coming out of the car that's going to make somebody believe that an aren't getting mommy and daddy's attention and they just, oh, well, whatever, I'm not doing this anymore. Not so much. We realize that's not the case, okay? So please don't think we forgot about you. That's not at all what I want you to think. Last but not least, I do want to stress this point. When you call us, you're giving us a call, you're calling it a crime. Okay, there's a big possibility, especially with these individuals that we've dealt with, and it's still ongoing, that these are going to be brought forward in court to trial. That being said, you called this case in, you will most likely be called as a witness on stand at a trial. I don't say that to scare you. I don't say that to make you say, crap, I'm not going to call now, I've never been to court, I don't want to go to court. Anxiety, oh my gosh. I'm saying that because it's so detrimental to our case that when we do have witnesses, they show up. Otherwise, we're going to lose. We will lose. We don't have our witnesses to cooperate. Why we did what we did. And that's huge for us too. So as much as this responsibility is on us, you as the callers, we need your help. We really do, okay? So I think, last but not least, we do have and this is last, I swear. We do have you're still going to trial for the original citations that were issued in part of this ordinance, okay? I don't know how that's going to do in court. That's going to be a big tell for us, okay? This may very well, I don't know how this is going to play out, and I don't want to say one way or another right now, but that is going to say a lot. And the fact that we haven't gone to court, and it's been almost a year, it'll be a year as of December 28th, shows you where the court is right now. They're very backlogged, and we still have a lot of cases pending with this. So bear with us. Like I said, we're really trying. We've not forgotten about you. And as much as we don't understand your frustration because we're not living there, believe me, we're frustrated. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. I hope that explains kind of why we've been doing what we've been doing. Does anyone have any questions further for me? Sure.
It was really helpful for you to share about the siren specifically being a violation. Is there any other information you can give us about the nuance of what kind of noise and driver behaviors are illegal versus a nuance? For instance, if someone is driving exceedingly slow, and it's not because someone's trying to cross the street, is that disruptive? Or is that illegal? So could you just tell us a little bit more about what we can look for so that when we're calling in true violations and not just nuisances?
Sure. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm bringing it up in RSA just because I want to read it verbatim.
Yeah.
So this is the RSA for disorderly conduct. And that is 644-2. So disorderly conduct is considered a breach of peace, okay? I could read it. Okay. This is the one that we're kind of focusing on. Makes louder or reasonable noises in a public place or making louder or reasonable noise in a private place, your homes, from a public place, the streets, which can be heard in a public place or other private places, your home, which noises would disturb a person of average sensibilities. That's what it comes down to. Okay. Yes. So obviously, yes. So you need to. That's when you call. And I mean, that's a perfect example. And we get it documented, we get it known. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's going to be our main focus, really, because I think that's going to be what seems to be the biggest issue out here right now.
And the consequences, would that be a fine?
It all depends how it turns out in court. It does start out as a violation. It can move up if they've been warned to a misdemeanor. That's so far out. I mean, like I said, we're still dealing with the ordinances from last year, So I have no idea how that's going to play out. Yep. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Could you just say the number for the dispatch and market again? Do you know?
Oh, yes, of course. It's 603-659-6636. And that is the number you're going to want to call, because if we're out there, we're not going to get you downstairs. You're not going to get us downstairs, and we're not going to carry your call. Of course, they can get us on the radio at all times. And 911, only if it's a dire emergency. We don't want to be bogging up the 911 lines. And also, it does take time for it to get from 911 to Newmarket Dispatch, then to us. So Newmarket's the more direct way to go.
Can you repeat that number?
Sure, yes, absolutely. 603-659-6636. 36.
I just want to say, like I said, we were just dealing with them last year, dispatch, I think her name is Lisa. Is it Lisa? Very nice. I know if you've never called before, had never called before, very helpful, very kind, and empathetic to what's happening. So don't be afraid to call.
And for that too. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that before I'm out of here, I'm gonna touch base with dispatch. I'll touch base with Chief Jordan over at Newmarket, let him know what we might be expecting for the weekend. Let them know they might be expecting an influx of calls, just so that they're up to date. I will also let the surrounding towns of Epping, Exeter, and Stratton know as well, in case we need more units and stuff like that. Okay. So, thank you.
I have nothing to ask.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thank
certainly.
We'll see. What did I really?
Oh, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments?
Hi,
On this matter?
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, John Walker at 55 Hemlock. I mean, I just want to thank Lieutenant O'Brien for coming out here tonight. And, I know you guys are doing whatever you can, but I guess it's just nice to get the additional information.
Of course.
I have the same concerns. I mean, safety, the noise. I mean, they just go around that circle, and I'm like, well, now we're hearing about, possible not doing this on a weekend. I mean, what if there is a school bus that's trying to get through there? What if there's an emergency vehicle that needs to get through
Kids
there?
biking, that's,
Kids biking,
I'm very
definitely for
worried
me.
about that.
And they're getting more aggressive.
And I'm getting aggressive, yes.
Any other comments? Yep, Karen.
I live at the end of Meadow on 87, and someone did walk them in when they were trying to leave. My husband and I heard a bunch of yelling, we were out back, so we went around to see what was going on.
Okay, yeah, that's the biggest, please
I
don't,
wasn't too sorry.
don't block them in because that's a violation in priority. You're now blocking somebody and you're restricting their movement, you could be arrested for that. So please, let's not get into one of those.
And I heard on the radio today that they're gonna be voting on it.
That's a
So
good point.
we might not have anything.
That is a good point. So tomorrow, just be aware, they are voting on that executive committee hearing that was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago where they had the protest that is going on at PSTC tomorrow in Concord. There is some concern that they may come here afterwards because of however this goes down. I don't know how it's going to play. I was just out on the phone talking with the state police detail, so they're passing on some information to me. So just be aware it may happen. That's my warning to you right now. And we will do. I'm on duty tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm the only person on duty tomorrow, and I have a heck of a lot to do in the next couple days. But I will do everything I possibly can to make sure that everybody gets home from school safe, and that nothing goes on in this neighborhood, in that neighborhood, specifically any of the neighborhoods that are dealing with this. Okay.
Anything else? Just as a matter of public record, not that I, want to talk about this, but I just want as public record to know, given that I have been studiously avoiding any conflict or impropriety, I have not talked to the police department about this in any way, shape, or form because of my relationship to the governor. Nor have I talked to the state police or the attorney general. Since this matter came up last year, I've had no role in any conversations with them about enforcement of this, and I'll continue to do so because of my relationship with the governor.
I'm so sorry I'm getting over cold.
Quite all right.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
It's not COVID.
Don't worry about it. Any other issues that anyone wants to raise with the board? Yeah, Tom.
I just, thank you, Tom Morello, also on Pleasant Street. And I know that my wife Stacey already just asked the question, and we got the explanation, but I just want to share my concern and my displeasure with the process and the length of time that it has taken. The situation the police department in. I'm familiar with being involved in law enforcement for 33 years. And I'm disappointed to see that our small town has been put into this situation where it's taken 7 months for us to get to here after now. This is self-inflicted. We might have had a great plan, but it was poorly executed. I commend the lieutenant for stepping up and taking this taken on the position in the last 7 months as the acting chief. I also am very proud of her for moving on and taking care of herself. That leaves us in a very dangerous situation right now. And as I say, it's self-inflicted by the process that you took to get where we're at. So I do hope that you expedite as best as you can, but keep in mind the points we brought up. It could take well into January before we see a new chief here.
Understood.
Not to mention that now you can fill the lieutenant's position. At a time when it's very hard to fill a position in the police department. We shouldn't have had to wait this long. I just want to share my disappointment with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other comments? Questions? Yes.
On the subject of police stuff, I wanted to ask if there was any possibility of bringing back the speed sign at the bottom of the hill here on 85. I've just noticed a pattern each year as it starts to get darker in the fall, and now that everyone's back to work, people are starting to go real fast over there, and with it getting darker earlier, it's just a little bit concerning. I walked with my son back from the country store, you know, at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it's starting to get a little bit dark, and people are going super duper fast. And I know whenever that sign has gone up, it really does help spread the word that you're going into a town, even if it's just temporary. So just wanted to put out that as a request, if that's at all possible.
Lieutenant, we have 2 of those speed signs.
Sorry. We do have 2 speed signs. And I understand everybody wants their, it was on the extra road for a couple, I want to say a couple months. I have a couple months in the year for extra road.
Yeah.
I've got calls for Oakland's Road, I've got calls for Bald Hill, I've got calls for Old Lee, I've got calls for every single street in town, I can name it. I've got one on Main Street right now. I'm letting Newmarket borrow one for a couple weeks so that they can show their town how wonderful they are and how great they work. And as a neighboring town that does so much for us, I did think that that was a responsible thing and a respectful thing to do because they back us up all the time. Even when we're not working, they've come to take calls for us. I can certainly add it back to the list because I did like where it was on Exeter Road. That definitely at the bottom of the hill was great. Unfortunately, I got a couple in line before you, but I will add that to the list of places where we can move it to because I think that was a great location too.
Would it be possible to maybe have it there temporarily just around Halloween when trick-or-treating is happening? My thinking is, if we can get them slowing down at the bottom of that hill, it kind of takes care of when they're starting to come in through town. It's, you know,
Sure.
we've already slowed them down, if that's at all possible.
I can definitely look at that. We've got the one on Main Street right here, which I personally like to move down, but I can't find a really good location for it. Yeah, we can definitely look at that, and I will spread that along to the sergeant as well, because I unfortunately am not going to be here in that capacity. So, but I would definitely pass it on because I understand your concerns.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Is it possible to maybe get a third and have one permanently at the bottom of that hill?
Well, I don't know how that felt. That was I was under the impression we were going to talk about the budget time too, because I didn't want to talk about a cruiser. I wanted to talk about paint creases. I want to talk about sign. I want to talk about those pedestrian flashing signs, which I think are really cool. I don't know if Gopher funds could be used for that. I have yet to do a lot of research in that. It's kind of been a hectic few weeks. So, and I didn't know I was going to be doing the budget, but now I'm doing the budget, I guess. So here we are. So I would like to look at that. That is something I'm looking at. Okay.
Yeah, because I've noticed that too, when that sign's there.
Yeah. No, it's a great location.
It even reminds me that I shouldn't be going right.
Right, no, it's a great location.
All right. With that, I will make a motion that we adjourn the public meeting and move into a non-public session under 91A 2B. Second by Betsy. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Great, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.